First pitch swing in the air. Luis Robert makes the catch. And in a year when so many of us have had to be apart, we all will journey together into October with the White Sox. For the first time in 12 years, the Sox are going to the playoffs.
Hello and happy 2020 to 2021 offseason, White Sox fans. Why am I coming to you today, trying to throw this together at the last minute? Well, because tomorrow, in addition to being my birthday, very importantly, tomorrow is the non-tender deadline. And any team that has an ARB-eligible player, they have to decide whether they're going to offer ARB or not. Arbitration, that is, of course. Which means a lot of people will be DFA'd or designated for assignment tomorrow or put on waivers. And I wanted to try to get this out there before that happens to try to kind of plant my flag and make my not only predictions, but hopes. Really, I guess more than anything, it's if I were GM right now, if I were in Rick Hahn's position, what should the White Sox do? And of course, I always want to hear from you what your ideas and opinions are. Sox do have a couple of interesting ones coming up, and it's decision time, and they haven't announced anything yet as of 6:30 on the evening of December 1st. I want to do videos more regularly this offseason. I'll have a better set, better than what you're seeing right now. But really, I wanted to try to just get this up and out there as soon as I could. I want to take a look at Luis Roberts' contract and see how much money could that save the White Sox in the long run? Or should it have even been done in the first place, considering they gave a pretty nice extension for a guy who had yet to see a single major league pitch? But what is the potential savings there, and what is a reasonable expectation for the quality of that contract? There's all different kinds of ideas about what the new playoff format should be like after 2020 was expanded to such a huge number that I don't think most people want to see be the norm going forward. But I know there's been a push for an extended playoffs for a while now. So what could that, or what should that look like? I've seen a few different interesting ideas, but I've got one that's uniquely my own so far. And in general, I just want to chime in on White Sox news as it breaks. So we will try to make that a reality as this winter begins and as the snow starts to pile up outside the window, that we can think to brighter days, think to spring and summer days. Some decisions were already made. The club had an option on Leury Garcia, and they exercised it, which was awesome. I kind of didn't think they were going to do that after the strange 2020 season. No ticket sales. A lot of people, most teams are talking about really, really scaling back. So I thought, you're still going to pay your stars the big money, but maybe there's only going to be those people and then the people making league minimum, very low money. Leury Garcia, they exercised the $3.5 million club option, which is, I'm glad that they did it because he was doing really well. And he's a great Yolmer Sanchez type of player who can play the middle infield and the outfield. He's a great super utility bench bat. So he will be coming back. Two people that were declined, their options declined, was Edwin Encarnacion. It sadly had to happen. I wanted him to come out like a powerhouse and be Nelson Cruz like playing for the White Sox. But really, his home run numbers were okay. His home run rate was very good, actually. If extrapolated out over a full season, he would have hit his normal 30 or so home runs. But really, it was kind of home run or bust for Edwin. He showed signs of improvement as the season went on. He was robbed a lot. He put barrel to ball quite a bit, and he had a lot of lineouts. So I think if any other club picks him up, they'll be happy to do so because they'll probably get him at a good rate. The White Sox club option was $12 million, and he's just not a $12 million player right now. But he would provide some team really good value, maybe if he signs on for $5 million somewhere. Will he be back with the White Sox even at that price? I don't think so. The White Sox have some really interesting youngsters that could come up right away, to be honest with you. Andrew Vaughn being the height of that list as somebody that could step into a designated hitter role even as soon as 2021, even while we are trying to capitalize and make it deep into the playoffs. It's always a little nerve-wracking giving an unproven bat that kind of responsibility, but it's possible. And, of course, the Sox did turn down Gio Gonzalez's option. He pitched. Well, I think we got what we needed out of him. It was a $7 million contract. He ate up some innings. The idea was that he would pitch mostly out of the bullpen, but he ended up getting a bunch of spot starts. Did he blow anybody away? Absolutely not. But he did what he was supposed to do. Also, it's really nice to have a guy that's been around the block as much as he has. He's had some great major league success in his career, and he was able to be there and ideally mentor a lot of these great young arms that we have. So I think he played a role beyond what he did in the box score. Even before the season ended, the White Sox cut ties with Steve Cishek, which was an unfortunate signing. I was somebody that was totally pushing for the White Sox to sign him in the offseason, last offseason. They did. I was excited about that, and he really just didn't. He was not one of the great arms out of our pen, which we are in a luxury where we have so many great guys that showed up this past year, and the White Sox bullpen is really quite excellent. People like Cody Hoyer, Matt Foster, Birdie, it just goes on and on. How many great electric arms. And of course, Zach Birdie is a younger guy who is still trying to figure things out, but I see a lot of potential in him. There's really so many great guys. Ross Detweiler was another guy who I think was cut before the season ended. Maybe he just didn't make the playoff roster. He served his purpose. A veteran guy, ate up innings, gave us quality production out of the bullpen, but really just not a long-term piece for us. The big question in the bullpen is our closer. I think the plan is that Cody Hoyer will eventually mature into that role, but he is very young, does not have the track record yet. It's something that I totally think he could mature into, but our closer for the last couple of years, Alex Colomé, is now a free agent. Here's the interesting thing. Had he continued through arbitration, he made it over $10 million last year. A normal offseason, he may have gotten some huge, big money long contract. The general thinking is that bullpen arms are just not going to be prioritized when everybody is trying to tighten up their payroll. So there's a good chance the White Sox can get Alex Colomé back at a reasonable rate. It would probably take a multi-year deal, but maybe somewhere around $7 or $8 million per year for 2 to 3 years. If that could happen, I say the White Sox should go for it. Absolutely. On that front, although the bullpen is a strength for the White Sox right now, I would still love to see them take advantage of this weird market and pick up somebody like Brad Hand, who was recently waived from the Indians. Although he had a great year and has had a great career, the Indians chose not to exercise a $10 million club option on him. And is his value really under $10 million? Probably not in a normal season, but right now, maybe the Sox could pick him up for a similar type of mid-tier contract. And he's a guy that has talent and versatility and experience. I would love to see the White Sox pick him up. The only other arm right now I'm looking at for the bullpen, Kirby Yates, is a very exciting and intriguing candidate possibility. He's a guy that was really a reliever of the year just a couple of years ago, but then he went down with an injury. He had surgery to have bone chips removed from his elbow, which, as gnarly as that sounds, is actually not that scary of an injury for a pitcher. So he's expected to be back to normal next year. Because he missed most of 2020 with this injury, who knows what he could possibly get. I'm guessing he'll end up doing one of those 1-year make-good deals where he just gets on a team that will promise that to give him a chance to regain his value, and then he'll go sign a big deal in the following offseason. Well, let's invite Kirby Yates to reestablish his value here on the South Side. The other big question that has a lot of White Sox fans talking right now is James McCann. He is a free agent right now, so he's no longer in the fold. He is open to anybody to sign. White Sox fans, including myself, would love to see him come back. He's another guy I wish the Sox could re-sign to split time with Yasmani Grandal, and he wants full-time playing time. So I would say if it was possible to give him the backup catcher job and then the days he's not playing catcher, put him in at DH, that would make this team very strong. The problem is he is being courted by a lot of people, and I know right now the Mets are very aggressively going after him. He's seen as a backup option to a lot of people, that a lot of teams that might be trying to get JT Realmuto, the best catcher in all of baseball, that if they don't get him, then there's going to be a frenzy to go get James McCann. Well, some teams, including the Mets, are prioritizing McCann over Realmuto. So he might be very, very difficult to get back. I would love to have him come back. I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. The White Sox have a really enviable position where they have, of course, who is widely considered the second best catcher in all of baseball, that being Yasmani Grandal. He had kind of a middling season first year in Chicago. I think he was a bit streaky, but he turned it on more towards the end. Hit some big home runs against the A's in the playoffs, which was great to see. He also had some defensive lapses that just can't happen for a major league ball player, especially somebody that signed the largest contract in the history of the White Sox. Catch the pitch. So, who knows what's going to happen. But we do have the likes of Zach Collins, Selby Zavala, and Yerman Mercedes. We have 3 good catching prospects. And it's difficult because you can't usually find enough playing time for those types of guys. Zach Collins got barely any time to play in the 2020 season. Mercedes had literally 1 plate appearance, and Zavala was not. I don't even know if he was on the practice squad. So the Sox do have some great backup catching options. I think somebody like Zach Collins, unfortunately, he needs to be able to come in and play every day to really get into a groove, and I don't know if that's going to happen. So does somebody like Zach Collins become trade bait? I don't really know. I would love to see the White Sox fill out their roster from free agency as opposed to trades right now. Mostly because we don't have too many holes to fill, which is such a great luxury. But to that point, it might be a good idea to have a veteran catcher, somebody that's used to just coming in off the bench, not playing very regularly, being a guy that can be a great defensive replacement late in the game. So a veteran backup might be preferable to somebody that has a lot of potential. We'll see how it goes. I do want to give Zach Collins his shot because he has earned it. He has been a top prospect for a long time. And when it seemed like he was going to finally get the opportunity to step into a starting role, the Sox signed a huge name. So where does that leave him, Zavala and Mercedes? Time will tell. Unfortunately, we'll have to take a wait-and-see approach. I'd say the last major pressing question is right field. I've gone back and forth on this a little bit myself. Last winter, the Sox picked up Nomar Mazara for Steele Walker in a trade with the Rangers, which I didn't like in the moment, but I was still hopeful and optimistic. Would Mazara be a change of scenery candidate that would kind of come into his own finally after being a highly touted prospect for a long time that just wasn't putting it together in Texas? Would he do it on the South Side? I was really hopeful. And unfortunately, his season got started with sickness. Now, the official statement was that he had strep throat, which is what delayed the beginning of his season. There's lots of speculation. Did he actually have COVID? We don't know. I absolutely don't know. But if you saw how Yoan Moncada, who confirmed had COVID, how he was affected all season long, it was kind of heartbreaking to watch this young kid in his prime smack a ball to the gap and get a double or a triple and then need a whole inning of just being on the floor because he was so fatigued from having to do that short burst run. If Mazara was dealing with that as well, yeah, he deserves just as much sympathy. And he is another guy that began to come around as the season went on. That said, the White Sox are in win now mode. Do we have the ability to have the patience to wait on a guy like Nomar Mazara to maybe, hopefully, put it together? And it's still a gamble. He made over $5 million last year. He probably won't get too much of a raise on it this year. So I was thinking for a while that, that's a reasonable amount of money to take that gamble. As I've thought about it more, I think it makes a lot more sense to turn right field into a platoon situation with Adam Engel, who had a really nice year in 2020. And maybe we bring in Jock Pederson to be the other side of that platoon. Probably get him for about the same money as Mazara, with a lot more security about what that person is going to bring. Lastly, starting pitching was a really fun part of the White Sox season. Dallas Keuchel lived up to all expectations. Lucas Giolito proved that he was not lucky in 2019. He is a very, very talented. So we have 1 and 2 right off the bat, looking great. What happens after that? Dylan Cease was that guy for quite a long time, most of the year, filling that role and still being a young guy that was going through difficulties, going through a lot of growing. Don't forget, Lucas Giolito was bad for a while. Don't forget, Tim Anderson was bad for a while, and now these are some of the best people in all of baseball at their respective positions. Dylan Cease is somebody I still have a lot of hope for, that he'll take that next step. Should he be considered a number 3 on a playoff team right now? Probably not. The same can be said of Dane Dunning, who's another guy I'm very excited about, but I do think we need a legitimate number 3 player, pitcher, and we can push those 2 guys back to a less important role. But let's also look at how deep we are on that level. We also have Ronaldo Lopez, who is another decision. Does he get offered arbitration? It'll be his first time through arbitration. His estimated salary would just be about $1 or $2 million, very low. He missed most of last year with injury. Another guy is Carlos Rodon, longtime top prospect. He was a first round pick, I think number 3 overall for the White Sox many years ago. He has had such a bad run with injuries. And then when he came back, Ricky Renteria used him really poorly in his just couple of appearances when he came back. He's a guy that might be too expensive to bring back on one of these arbitration gambles. However, could we decline him, DFA him, and then sign him back at a lower rate? If that's possible, I really do hope we can do that because he's a guy that has good stuff. He just hasn't been healthy. I'd love to keep him in the fold. We've invested so much time in him, but maybe we just can't invest a roster spot for him right now. Oh, yeah, there's also one of the top prospects in all of baseball, Michael Kopech, who would have been healthy after undergoing Tommy John surgery in 2019 to come back in 2020. Maybe it was even 2018 when he went for Tommy John. But he would have been totally ready, but he opted out of the season due to COVID, and he was also going through a divorce. So I don't really know what to expect out of Michael Kopech right now. Has he been keeping up with his training? I hope so. But he is another element of great depth that we have. So a lot of people are saying that the White Sox should sign 2 starting pitchers. I don't know if we have to actually do that. And we don't need to shop at the top of the market, fortunately, because we do have Keuchel and Giolito providing a lot of value up at the top of our rotation right now. So somebody I would love to see, somebody like James Paxton, or maybe Masahiro Tanaka. Tanaka would be really... That's the one that would get me very excited. He is an older guy, but because of that, we wouldn't be needing to give him a huge long-term commitment. Looking at FanGraphs, the estimate for him would be a 2 to 3 year deal with an average annual of $15 to $18 million. Totally reasonable for a team that has a good payroll right now. Our payroll is going to be going up as these young guys get bigger and better, but Tanaka will be in and out before we have to worry about that kind of stuff. Paxton, let me just take a quick look and see what he is estimated to get. They're saying 1 or 2 years at $15 million per year. I think there could be great value there. Absolutely. I'd love for the White Sox to pick up a middle tier type of starting pitcher, a couple of really interesting relievers, and we'll see what goes on over in right field. 2021 is going to be a great year. I am very excited about it. Oh yes, the 400-pound La Russa in the room. Yeah, I was not happy about the La Russa signing even before the new news came out about his DUI. I don't know if he's the type of guy that can connect with our players. I was really hoping that because he is up there in age, that they would sign him and have a really great bench coach, so that bench coach could get groomed and take over in 1 year. Maybe that will happen. It looks like the rest of the coaching staff is getting filled out in a really nice way. Ethan Katz is our new pitching coach. I'm excited about that. He coached and helped grow Lucas Giolito. Miguel Cairo is the bench coach, and he's a guy that has a lot of experience. So maybe Cairo will be our head coach in 2022. He has experience, but La Russa does absolutely have a lot of valuable experience, Hall of Fame experience. So maybe La Russa is there just to be that bridge gap. That's what I'm hoping for. Nothing against him, but I just want the best for the team, of course, and I just don't know if La Russa is the guy that's going to be able to motivate this squad the way a younger guy would be able to. And Miguel Cairo, maybe he's that guy. Anyway, what do you guys hope the White Sox do this offseason? And also, what do you want to see out of this channel going forward? I'm hoping to do a whole bunch of different types of videos, and we will definitely get more into the dollars and cents of the game, of the business of baseball as well, which is something that's exciting and interesting to me. But hope you guys are all doing well, staying safe, and I will see you with an update pretty soon, I'm sure.